a WikiVidi Documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Neville, wrestler. Benjamin Satterley is an English professional wrestler currently working for Dragon Gate under the ring name Pac, where he is a member of the villainous R.E.D stable. He is best known for his time in WWE under the ring name Neville. From 2012-2015, Satterley wrestled in WWE's developmental territory NXT under the name Adrian Neville. In NXT, he is one of 5 men to win the NXT Tag Team Championship twice, with his first reign being one half of the inaugural champions with Oliver Gray and the other reign with Corey Graves. He is also a one-time NXT champion, thus making him the first man to have held both the NXT Championship and the NXT Tag Team Championship. Neville was called onto the main roster in 2015, and was later drafted to Raw in the 2016 draft. He began competing in the Cruiserweight division that year, and became a record 2-time WWE Cruiserweight Champion, with his first reign being the longest at 197 days. Satterley is noted for his high-flying style and aerial attacks, which has earned him the nickname, the man that gravity forgot. He began his wrestling career under the ring name Pac in Northeast England with a small promotion, the Independent Wrestling Federation. And after establishing himself in the United Kingdom with promotions such as Real Quality Wrestling and One Pro Wrestling, he began to perform overseas, most notably for the Italy-based New Wrestling Evolution, United States-based Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Ring of Honor, and Chikara, and the Japan-based Dragon Gate, where he won the Open, the Brave, Triangle, and Twin Gate Championship. He is a former PWG World Tag Team Champion, and winner of PWG's inaugural Dynamite Duumvirate Tag Team Title Tournament. Early life. Satterley was born on the 22nd of August 1986 in Newcastle upon Tyne, the son of Stephen and Gil Satterley. He was extremely active as a child and participated in sports such as football, hockey, roller hockey, basketball, and swimming. His interest in wrestling came about through one of his aunts, who was a fan of the World Wrestling Federation. His parents had banned him from watching wrestling at their house, so he would go over to his aunt's to watch it. His favorite wrestlers growing up were The Undertaker and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. By the age of 16, Satterley had wrestled with backyard wrestling organizations TWXW in Newcastle and FXW in nearby Middlesbrough. Even as one of the younger wrestlers in the group, Satterley's technical ability and athleticism ensured he was always in the most entertaining matches. Many of the FXW roster went on to form 3 Count Wrestling, an organization Satterley would later return to. He started training as a wrestler on a more permanent basis at the age of 18 at St. Joseph's Hall in Gateshead, described by Satterley as pretty much the only wrestling school in the area. European competition, 2004-2012. Satterley made his debut on the 27th of March 2004 as Pac at Independent Wrestling Federation, where he lost to Assassin. For the first 2 years of his career he wrestled mainly for IWF and 3 Count Wrestling. He won his first championship on the 26th of August 2005 when he teamed up with Harry Payne to defeat Chris Prime. In 2006 he began to wrestle all across Britain and Europe. Satterley later performed in British promotion 3 Count Wrestling. He debuted on the 14th of October 2005 and defeated Ed and Falcon in the opening match. Pac then went on to capture the 3CW Northeast Championship on the 24th of February 2006. He then captured the 3CW Triple Crown Championship at an ICW event, which he held for 110 days. Pac was defeated in his last 3CW match by Liam Thompson on the 30th of April 2010. After joining One Pro Wrestling in May 2006, Pac became the first ever openweight champion on the 26th of November after winning a battle royal. He successfully retained the title on several occasions before losing it to James Wallace on the 30th of June 2007 in a match that started immediately after Pac retained the title in a 4-way match. On the 29th of December, Pac failed to reclaim the title after losing to then-champion Darren Burridge. In late April, Pac represented International Pro Wrestling, United Kingdom in the prestigious King of Europe Cup. He defeated Trent Acid in the first round before falling to Nigel McGuinness in the quarter-finals. In 2007, Satterley began wrestling in the Italy-based New Wrestling Evolution under the ring name Jungle Pack. As Jungle Pack, Satterley's character is that of a jungle native, which is emphasized by his attire consisting of a loincloth or a lava over his trunks, as well as being billed from the jungle. On the 19th of April 2008, Jungle Pack competed in a four-way ladder match for the vacant Cruiserweight Championship against Juventud Guerrera, Matt Cross, and Supernova, which was won by Guerrera. On the 26th of October, Jungle Pack wrestled against Guerrera and Supernova in a three-way match for the Cruiserweight title, but was unable to win the title. He wrestled against Guerrera and Nova in two more three-way matches for the title on 1 and the 2nd of November, but was again unable to win the title. Pack wrestled in Premier British Wrestling on two occasions before signing with WWE. On the 17th of November 2009, Pack debuted in American Wrestling Rampage during its European Invasion Tour, and lost to Duncan Disorderly in a three-way match also involving Sean Maxer for the promotion's No Limits Championship. 2 days later, he wrestled against Disorderly in a singles match for the title, but was defeated. After defeating Disorderly in tag team matches over the next 2 days, Pack and Maxer wrestled against Disorderly for the No Limits title in another three-way match on the 22nd of November, but were again defeated. After trading wins with El Generico over the next few days, Pack finally won the title after defeating Generico and new champion Michael Knight on the 29th of November. After successfully retaining the title against Generico on 4 and the 6th of December, Pack lost the title to Duncan Disorderly on the 8th of December. The next day, Pack and Generico defeated Disorderly and Sean Maxer in a tag team match. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, 2006-2008. On the 17th of November 2006, Pack made his debut in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. He competed against AJ Styles in a losing effort of the first night of All-Star Weekend 4. The next night, he faced El Generico in a match that was considered by those in attendance a serious match of the year contender. Pack returned to PWG on the 24th of February 2007, defeating Kevin Steen to pick up his first win in the promotion. He faced Generico again on the 7th of April, this time in the main event of the first night of All-Star Weekend V with the PWG World Championship on the line. Generico once again came out on top. The next night, Pack faced All Japan Pro Wrestling star Kaz Hayashi in a losing effort. Pack was originally scheduled to compete in singles matches during the first PWG Dynamite Duumvirate Tag Team Title Tournament on 20 and the 21st of May. However, Roderick Strong's original partner, Jack Evans, had been called back to Dragon Gate at the last moment and decided to have Pack fill the vacant spot. After defeating Super Dragon and Davey Richards in the first round, Naruki Doi and Masato Yoshino in the second round, and then the Briscoe brothers in the finals, Pack and Strong won the tournament and as a result, became the new World Tag Team Champions. In their first title defense, Pack and Strong defeated the Havana Pitbulls at PWG's event Roger Dawn Night on the 10th of June. From 15 to 22 July, Pack took part and competed for Dragon Gate's biggest tour of the year, Wrestle Jam, where he and El Generico represented PWG alongside Ring of Honor representatives Austin Aries, Delirious, Jack Evans, Matt Sydal, and Jimmy Rave. On the 29th of July, Pack and Strong were scheduled to defend their World Tag Team Championship against the Briscoe brothers in a 2 out of 3 falls match. However, they were replaced by Kevin Steen and El Generico, who ended up winning World Tag Team Championship in a 1-fall match. Pack was among the 24 participants in the 2007 Battle of Los Angeles tournament in Burbank, California that ran from 31 August to the 2nd of September. He defeated Jack Evans in a first-round match, then Claudio Castagnoli in a second-round match before losing to eventual tournament winner Sema in a semi-final round match. After almost a year-long absence from the company, Pack made his return to PWG at All-Star Weekend 7 on the 30th of August 2008, where he picked up the win for the team of himself and the Young Bucks by pinning Kevin Steen, who teamed with El Generico and Susumu Yokosuka. The next night, Pac was unsuccessful in his attempt to win the World Championship from then-champion Chris Hero. Pac returned to PWG on the 23rd of July 2011, facing Kevin Steen in a losing effort. On the 29th of January 2012, at Kurt Russell Reunion 3, Pac teamed with El Generico and Masato Yoshino to defeat Akira Tozawa, Kevin Steen and Super Dragon in a six-man tag team main event. Ring of Honor, 2007. Soon after the tour, Pac debuted in Ring of Honor at their 3 and 4 March shows at the Liverpool Olympia in Liverpool, England. On the first night, he lost to Roderick Strong in a match for the FIP World Heavyweight Championship. On the second, he was defeated by Matt Sydal. On the 24th of August, he returned to Raw in a losing effort against Bryan Danielson. At Raw's Manhattan Mayhem, he lost to Davey Richards. Chikara and Ballpark Brawl, 2007, 2009. On the 21st of April, Pac debuted in Chikara at their show Raid of Voladores in a 4-way elimination match against Chuck Taylor, Ricochet, and Retail Dragon, which was won by Taylor. In August, Pac returned to Chikara at their International Invaders weekend. On the first night, he was defeated by Ricochet. The next night, he was defeated by Claudio Castagnoli. On the 23rd of August, he participated at the 8th Ballpark Brawl, where he lost a 6-way elimination match that featured Sterling James Keenan, Trent Acid, El Generico, Extremo and John McChesney, which was won by Keenan. Dragon Gate and Affiliates, 2007, 2012. Shortly after participating in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's Battle of Los Angeles tournament, Pac was invited to Dragon Gate for their Dragon Storm 2007 tour beginning on the 8th of September. The tour was the last for World Wrestling Entertainment-bound Matt Sydal, who on the 14th of September endorsed Pac to be his replacement on the Dragon Gate faction Typhoon. On the 15th of September, Pac defeated Dragon Kid for the Westside Extreme Wrestling World Lightweight Championship. On the 25th of April 2008, Pac lost to Gamma in the first round of a tournament for the Open the Brave Gate Championship. On the 31st of May, Pac and Dragon Kid wrestled against fellow Typhoon members Ryo Sato and Susumu Yokosuka for the Open the Twin Gate Championship, but were unable to win. On the 27th of July, Pac, Dragon Kid and Anthony W. Mori represented Typhoon in a 4-way match for the Open the Triangle Gate Championship, but were unable to defeat Gamma, Yamato and Yasushi Kunda for the title. After Typhoon disbanded in 2008, Pac joined World 1 in 2009. On the 22nd of March 2009, Pac, BXB Hulk and Naoki Tanizaki represented World 1 in a losing effort to the Open the Triangle Gate champions Kamikaze in a 3-way match also involving Real Hazard. World 1 again challenged for the title on the 24th of May, but were defeated by the new champions Warriors 5. On the 7th of June, World 1 finally won the Open the Triangle Gate Championship after defeating Warriors 5. World 1 made their first successful title defense on the 19th of July, where they defeated Kamikaze. On the 7th of February 2010, Pac lost to Kane S in a match for the Open the Brave Gate Championship. On the 5th of July 2010, Pac made his debut for Dragon Gate's international expansion Dragon Gate USA, wrestling in a match where he and BXB Hulk were defeated by Yamato and Shingo. At the following day's tapings of the Uprising pay-per-view, Pac and Naruki Doi defeated Jigsaw and Mike Quackenbush. On the 14th of October, World 1 lost the Open the Triangle Gate title to Akebono, Fuji and Mochizuki in a rematch. On the 20th of December 2010, Dragon Gate USA announced that they had signed Pac to a contract that would make him a regular member of the promotion's roster. On the 30th of January 2011, Pac and Masato Yoshino defeated Chuck Taylor and Johnny Gargano to become Dragon Gate USA's first ever Open the United Gate champions. On the 11th of September, Pac and Yoshino lost the Open the United Gate Championship to Open the Twin Gate champions, CIMA, and Ricochet, in a title versus title match. On the 29th of August 2010, Pac defeated Susumu Yokosuka in a tournament final to win the vacant Open the Brave Gate Championship for the first time. On the 14th of April 2011, Pac, BXB Hulk, and Susumu Yokosuka failed to win the Open the Triangle Gate Championship from Blood Warriors and, as a result, World 1 was forced to disband. On the 24th of April, former World 1 members Pac, Hulk, Yokosuka, and Yoshino agreed to form a new alliance with Masaki Mochizuki to battle Blood Warriors. On the 8th of June, the new group was named Junction 3 in reference to it being a union between the former members of World 1, Kamikaze, and the Veteran Gun. On the 19th of June, Pac and Dragon Kid defeated the Blood Warriors team of Ryo Sato and Genki Horiguchi to win the Open the Twin Gate Championship. They lost the title to Blood Warriors representative CIMA and Ricochet on the 17th of July. On the 19th of November, Pac lost the Open the Brave Gate Championship to Ricochet, ending his record reign at 447 days. On the 9th of February 2012, Junction 3 was forced to disband after losing a 14-man elimination tag team match to Blood Warriors. On the 4th of March, Pac received a shot at Dragon Gate's top title, the Open the Dream Gate Championship, but was defeated by defending champion, CIMA. On the 25th of March 2012, Pac joined Masato Yoshino, Naruki Doi, Ricochet, and Rich Swann and formed World 1 International. On the 6th of May 2012, Pac, alongside World 1 International members Masato Yoshino and Naruki Doi, defeated Genki Horiguchi, Hag.me, Jimmy Kunda, and Ryo, Jimmy, Sato at the 2012 Dead or Alive pay-per-view to become the 34th Open the Triangle Gate champions. On the 22nd of July, Pac made his final Dragon Gate appearance, during which he, Yoshino and Doi successfully defended the Open the Triangle Gate Championship in a three-way match. New Japan Pro Wrestling, 2012. On the 27th of May 2012, Pac made his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut, when he entered the 2012 Best of the Super Juniors tournament, defeating Jushin Thunder Liger in his first match. When the round-robin stage of the tournament concluded on the 9th of June, Pac finished with 5 wins out of his 8 matches, winning his block and advancing to the semi-finals of the tournament. He lost to Ryusuke Taguchi the following day, and was eliminated from the tournament. NXT Championship's success, 2012-2015. In July 2012, it was reported that Satterley had signed a contract with WWE. He joined WWE's developmental territory NXT and made his television debut using the ring name Adrian Neville on the 16th of January 2013 episode of NXT, where he defeated Sakamoto, together with Oliver Gray. The English duo won a tournament to crown the inaugural NXT Tag Team Champions by defeating the Wyatt family in the finals on the 13th of February episode of NXT. Neville and Gray, now billed as British Ambition, had earlier defeated 3 Megabytes in the first round and Cassius Ohno and Leo Kruger in the semi-finals. With Gray out injured with a torn ACL, Neville chose Bo Dallas as his new partner in April. On the 24th of April on NXT, Neville lost to Antonio Cesaro while challenging for his United States Championship. On the 8th of May episode of NXT, Neville and Dallas failed in their first defense of the tag title when they lost them to the Wyatt family. On the 29th of May episode of NXT, Neville competed in an NXT Championship No. 1 Contender Battle Royal, eliminating Mason Ryan and Bray Wyatt to make it to the final 2 participants, but his former tag partner Dallas eliminated him to win the match. Later, Dallas won his title match to become NXT Champion. Neville continued his feud with the Wyatt family by losing to them in 2 6-man tag matches, once while teaming with Corey Graves and Cassius Ohno, and once with Graves and William Regal. On the 20th of June, Neville regained the NXT Tag Team Championship from the Wyatt family with a new partner in Graves. On the 6th of August episode of NXT, Neville faced Dean Ambrose for his United States Championship, which Ambrose retained when the other members of the Shield caused a disqualification. Neville and Graves lost the title to the Ascension in September, Following this, the two feuded after failing to regain the title. Neville first became number one contender to the NXT Championship on the 27th of November episode of NXT by defeating Sami Zayn, after both men previously tied a Beat the Clock challenge. Neville faced former tag partner Bo Dallas for the title on the next episode and won by countout, which meant that the title did not change hands. 2 episodes later, Neville faced Dallas again for the title in a lumberjack match, but lost when lumberjack Tyler Breeze interfered. Neville once again became number one contender after Dallas failed to defeat Neville in a Beat the Clock challenge match on the 22nd of January episode of NXT that arose due to Dallas boasting at NXT Arrival. Neville won the NXT Championship from Dallas in a ladder match. A rematch was scheduled for the 20th of March episode of NXT, which he won after debuting a new finisher, the imploding 450-degree splash. Neville's first feud as champion began following a non-title match against Brodus Clay, where Neville won by countout. The feud ended with Neville scoring a no disqualification match victory over Clay to successfully defend the NXT Championship. At NXT TakeOver, Neville successfully defended the NXT Championship against Tyson Kidd. 2 weeks later, Neville retained his championship against Kidd again after Natalya prevented Kidd from using a chair. On the 31st of July episode of NXT, he successfully defended his title against Tyler Breeze by disqualification as Tyson Kidd attacked Neville after being superkicked by Neville. On the 8th of September, Neville made his first appearance on Raw as part of an NXT showcase match to promote NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way. He teamed with Sami Zayn to defeat Kidd and Breeze in a tag team match. On the 11th of September at the NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way event, Neville successfully defended his NXT Championship against Sami Zayn, Tyler Breeze and Tyson Kidd in a Fatal 4-Way match. On the 4th of December, Neville became the longest reigning NXT champion of all time, surpassing the record set by Bo Dallas. Later on the 11th of December at the NXT TakeOver R-Evolution event, Neville lost the championship to Zayn, ending his reign at 287 days. When Zayn offered a handshake, Neville kicked it away and instead hugged Zayn in respect. The following week on the 18th of December episode of NXT, Neville faced Kevin Owens, but the match ended in a double countout. Owens powerbombed Neville into the apron after the match. Neville received a rematch on the 15th of January 2015 episode of NXT, but failed to regain the title. Neville went on to compete in a NXT Championship No. 1 Contenders Tournament, defeating Tyson Kidd in the quarterfinals on the 28th of January and Baron Corbin in the semi-finals on the 4th of February, but lost in the finals to Finn Balor at NXT TakeOver Rival. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?